I'm like in a fever dream right now. Is this even
Welcome
happening?
to The Collective, where every conversation ignites a new perspective. Join us as we delve into the journeys of remarkable individuals, explore the art of growth, resilience, and the power of a shared mission as we strive to be better together. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Gold Mine. We have another fantastic show for you planned out today. I am stoked. We are live for the Veteran Photo Contest number 4. We do have some good images here, and I am excited to get them up and running. But before we do that, make sure you are doing the things. You are liking the show. Where's my button here? There we go. Liking the show, subscribing to the channel, hit the notification bell, do all that good stuff. Get your emails when we go live, which is at the moment Wednesdays and Fridays for The Collective. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, by all means, put them up in the comments section throughout the show. We can hit those as we go. And other than that, if you are not, make sure you are signed up for the Reinforcement Loop. That is our weekly newsletter that goes out every Sunday, except for this hiatus, which is now it's Tuesday-ish when it comes out, just based on timings and stuff like that, because Sean is overseas, of course. Other than that, let's get into it. Pat, why don't you give us a quick, hey, what's up? How's it going? You've been busy lately. How's it been?
It's been good, yeah. So yesterday I was working with Architects. I was on the other side of the lens. I kind of forgot how hard it is to carry a rifle all day. I don't know, maybe I'm becoming soft. But I did 12 hours of humping around a 416 or sorry, a 417 with a big optic on it, full plates and helmet and nods and the whole bit, like kind of trying to look the part. And I actually have a bit more respect for actors now, but I won't babble on too much. That's kind of what I've been doing. Went to SEMA, did some great shooting there. That was fun. And yeah.
Sweet. I love it. And it's funny, you forget how heavy that stuff is just over time. And I love it. Sean, how's Southeast Asia treating you?
Yeah, it's good. Thanks. I hope you can hear me. And I apologize if the connection's a bit jotty due to I'm in the middle of nowhere right now, but we'll see how this rolls.
I like it. We can hear you good. And right off the bat, John Minari jumped in here. Hey, team, stay frosty over there, Warrant Officer. I see you. I love it. Okay, well, let's get right into it. So we have the top 5 of the 9. And I got to say, I want to ask, actually, just for the people watching, if there's anything that we can do to better promote these contests or get more interaction into these things, do let us know. Hit us up so that we can do this better every time. So right off the bat, I'm going to throw out my favorite, and we're going to go from there. This is from Dave Curvin. Bam. From the back of the ML, which we've all experienced, and it is service in and of itself. So I want to get your guys' just overall thoughts right off the bat. Pat, why don't you hit us up? What do you got?
Love it. Great high contrast black and white. But again, the silhouettes, the shadows, the light wear. You know what I mean? Like it's a banger photo. It's a super rad photo. I don't know what else more I can say about it. I mean, you got like the smoke coming out at the one end there, the guy smoking and joking. Because like, everybody, like anyway, it's been in the back of an ML. It's loud, it's windy, but we're all just talking. Like some guys, they phase out with the freaking earphones in, listening to the Walkman or whatever. But most of the time, we're like smoking and joking and talking, and it's normally like either anticipation of doing something or the complete relief of just doing a task. It's normally either one of the two, right? And if it's the relief of being picked up, say like on an X, and they like, oh yeah, the ML copter's coming, and and you're all like, yeah, okay. And then it actually shows up and you get into the back and you don't have to walk out of the field that day. It's like, okay, this is a good day. And like that's the vibe I get from this.
I dig it. It's so great. And I'm thinking helmets off, they're probably stopped just waiting on something right now. It's awesome. Sean, what do you think?
Without a doubt, it's an amazing photo. I love this photo. I looked at it for a couple of minutes, trying to determine what had led up to this moment, what was going to happen after the moment. I was interpreting each individual's sort of posture, their position, what they were focused on, or what they were trying to perhaps not focus on. And so this photo tells many stories to me, and straight up, I love this photo.
It's a good one. It's definitely my favorite. And actually, Dave Curvin is on the Instagram side. He says, good to see you guys. And then hits up with end of a long day on Operation Lentis, sandbagging with flood relief. And that, yeah, That fits. That fits. So any other thoughts before we jump right into the scoring? Because we can just dive right in.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
but
if you've got Dave, if you've got Dave on the other end, can you ask him for a little bit more detail on what he shot it on, what caused him to shoot it, et cetera, et cetera?
Absolutely. Dave, hit us up on the Instagram side. Let us know what are you shooting, doing all that good stuff. Pat, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, because I was actually just talking to somebody before I hopped on the podcast about this, and they're kind of like, what do you want your photography to be at? I want the type of photography that, like, if it's like Instagram, I end up going to the person's profile to see more of it. If it's in a magazine and I'm just flipping through, I stop and I go back and look at it. And that, to me, is that type of photo. That's the type of photo that I would have been burning through a magazine, flip, and I would have stopped and I would have went back and looked and studied it. And that's, I think, a very high mark of good photography.
I would totally agree. When I looked at this photo initially, it really it took me back to a point in time where you don't have any other worries. You're either, like you said, doing the job or you just finished the job. And it brought back a lot of memories, and anybody that served in the military has spent a lot of time in the back of those MLs.
I can smell the cigarette smoke.
Right?
I mean,
yeah.
I can smell it.
It's in there.
Yeah.
And Dave Curver jumps in here. He says, shot with my cell phone on this one, just captured the moment with seeing an opportunity to catch the smoke rolling and the relief of the guys. Yeah, that is fantastic. So let's get into some general scoring then. Composition, technical skill. Right off the bat, out of 10. Sean, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 9.
9. Nice. That's solid. Pat, what do you got?
Solid 9, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I would give it a 10, but I've never actually seen a 10 in terms of composition. I don't know what that looks like. So I would love to get you guys. Let me actually ask you this, guys. In terms of composition, we're talking about composition technical skill. What is that? For the people that don't know, for the people that want to get better at taking photos, how do you compose a technical photo? Pat?
Well, there's a couple elements here when we're talking. Well, in composition, we're trying to, how do I say, put the puzzle pieces within the frame so it's visually intriguing or interesting, right? So whether that's cropping or taking a snippet out of it or whatever, right? We're trying to organize the frame so that it creates a story. Right. And then when the technical skill adds on a bunch of other little things, like such as exposure and light control and things like that, to again propel the story. Because when you go from a snapshot to a photograph, in my opinion, right, where it changes from something that you just click to a piece of art, is when you're able to use those technicalities and skills to create that story. And I mean, I guess we're like, the typical army guys. We're not going to give like full 10s here. And if I was to like say one thing, to me, it's slightly crooked, and that's just a small little point. Everything else is great. It's tack sharp, light control's great. It is crooked though, and it bothers me. Unless you're going to purposely Dutch the image, straighten your image.
I love it. Sean, how would you compose a technical photograph?
Yeah, Pat pretty much nailed it. And for me, the non-straight factor, where it's on, if you're being precise, it's on quite an extreme off angle, and that could have been corrected in post-processing or after Dave took the photo. I don't know if he's aware of that image could have been aligned correctly, kind of on a horizontal basis. But then again, as I looked at this photo initially, it kind of caught my eye because I too sometimes try to shoot images like this that kind of draws the person down into that back right corner towards where the light is coming in, almost as if you're falling into the image. But that sort of falling into an image typically takes like high technical purpose, and there's not much room for error in that if you're a professional photographer. And so I would say that Dave did a great job with this, perhaps accidentally pulling me into that back right corner, almost falling out of the vehicle, as it were. But I believe that Dave might not have intended to do that. And so then again, the image just needed to be straightened out a little bit on the horizontal.
That makes a lot of sense. Interestingly enough, for me, I found the little bit of a cant more interesting. In most photos, I don't, but this one, it made me feel like I was sitting in the back of that lab, like that, that forward lean that you
right. It's leaned off on like an embankment or something, like you parked it on the edge. I mean, yeah, I can feel that.
And so for me personally, that's what I really like that cant, but I can see where that would distract an image or deflect an image where you're not really in it the same. But I think maybe just experience from us being there kind of does that. Let's move on then. Creativity, originality. What do you got, Pat?
Dude, it's a 9. Like it's just like he's seen this image, he's seen the light coming through, seen the smoke rolling. I'm pulling out a camera and I'm taking the shot. He chose to shoot it right down the center there. Like to me, that was like he actually had to like lean out and take that shot versus just like sitting back and taking it. You know what I mean? So there was purpose in the framing as well, right? So that's definitely going to get a 9 for me.
Bam, Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm giving it a strong 9, and I'd like to add something to what Pat just said because I agree with that. I believe that when Dave took this photo, he took it kind of on the low down. He took it kind of stealth because as I look at the image, this did not occur. Hey, boys, look this way. I don't think any of the troops understand that Dave was snapping off that shot, or someone would have been giving him the side eye or giving him the grin or the thumbs up or a knuckle, or, everyone's in the game kind of properly in that moment. And I think that Dave pulled a James Bond photo on this one.
Dude, for me, because this is just a great photo. Because there's a part of it that if I didn't know better and you just seen it, if you were to slide this into say like a book by like Larry Burroughs from Vietnam, you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't even think twice. You just like, oh, that's a Larry Burroughs, and you go right by it. Like I wouldn't say you go by it, but you know what I mean? Like you would assume that this was like some sort of like, vintage war photo kind of like thing that was like has spent time on like Time magazine or something. Like it's a cool photo. I think it's a great photo.
That just clicked in my head a little bit in the fact that it would be kind of indistinguishable from pretty much every modern war across the board. I mean, really, like there have been troops sitting in back of trucks like this for the last 100 years almost. Like it's a pretty timeless photo. Let's move on to relevance, service. I'd say a 10. Like
nailed it. Yeah, it's a 9, I guess, if we're being those army guys.
Yeah, Sean, same thing, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a 9 for me, and something that you guys were just saying that I probably should have expanded on. Over here in Vietnam, of course, I've been to, or Dreen and I have been to several museums, several exhibitions, galleries, and I've seen a lot of wartime photography from both sides, and a lot of the imagery is being black and white. A lot of the imagery is very similar to this. And so I think that Pat brought up an excellent point with Larry Burroughs. I mean, I've seen some of his images over here, of course. I personally have photos from those visits to these various galleries of his photos because they just, they speak volumes, of course. And so I've been immersed in photography like this ever since our trip began. And so, Pat nailed it. This definitely has that vibe, and the vibe for me speaks volumes because it's got a certain energy. It's got a certain timelessness to it that I think any soldier can resonate with. So, yeah, it's gorgeous to me.
Yeah, I can't. That's why I picked it first. I just wanted to throw that. It was pretty much awesome. We got a couple comments here. John Minari jumped in, said winner photo right there. Dan C says great photos, kick some ass, gentlemen, and our kit's still vintage. That's true. We still got stuff from back in the day. So Stoke, what do you guys think? Stoke, artistic factor vibe, 9 once again. 9s across the board. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Then that one is good to go.
Dude, that's the standard. That not to put any pressure on anyone, because I don't want to discourage anyone from sending photos in. That's the standard.
Yeah.
Right there. You know what I mean?
Right off the bat. I love it. All right, let's get into another one. This one comes.
Actually, something that should also throw out there, because Dave has already mentioned that he shot it on a cell phone. I'm over here with a pretty decent rig and some pretty decent glass, and I believe that I could capture something similar to this, but there is an important aspect to this photo, and it's timing. And as Pat has mentioned in the past, one of the hashtags that we've used to some degree is the decisive moment. And so Dave had to decide to take this photo on the lowdown, on the sly, and not get the troops engaged in it. And so timing is everything with photography. But before you take the moment to nail that precise shot, Dave had to see it in his mind's eye. He had to visualize what he wanted to capture, and then bam, he caught it pretty quick. Now, because he caught it with a cell phone, he didn't have to pull out something like this and start doing his thing and lining things up, and that would have gained attention. And so with smaller rigs or with kind of gloomy light like this, you've got to be fast in order to not draw attention, but not so fast that everyone catches the peripheral motion line and then they're snapping to focus on your motion. And so there's a certain velocity to take this photo. There's a velocity in the mind. There's a velocity of motion. And sometimes big rigs can't do that. A cell phone can, though. So I just want to encourage anyone out there to pick up their cell phone and treat it like Dave did, like a proper camera, as it were, and capture this moment. So in essence, a cell phone isn't a limitation if you use it correctly.
That is a great point. Absolutely. The cameras on the cell phones are pretty high end. Like they're not nowadays with the technology we have compared to, like, do you remember like digital cameras was like 2 megapixels? Whoa.
Yeah, totally.
So I mean they're pretty good now. Let's jump into another one here. I'm just going to pick one at random. Here we go. Tom Chacon. I'm not sure how to spell or how to pronounce your last name, but Tom, this is a great photo right here. And actually, he wrote me in the email. This is from Barris Corner in Nova Scotia, taken around 9:30. So I am digging it, though. Great use of light. Let's get some thoughts. What do you think, Pat?
9:30, eh? That's interesting. Wow, that's cool. Really dig this photo. I am assuming, I probably shouldn't, but I'm assuming that this was done with an iPhone, not a camera. Which shows again how amazing iPhone cameras have become, or like phone cameras have become. But yeah, very phenomenal. I love the whole thing. It's a great photo. It's a great photo. I mean, and I'm not saying if like a professional did it, it would be a better photo. But if you had the tools and the skills to do so, this would probably be on some sort of RCMP recruiting friggin' poster or something. So the super Dutch angle might be intentional, but I feel that if you tried to straighten it out, you would end up cropping the back of the car off because you would lose the framing if you kept the current size format. That said, extreme angle kind of works for it, kind of doesn't, not sure. The tree in the background is kind of framed in an interesting spot on the right side. The left side, it's too dark to really matter. It's just a silhouette. But the right side, because it gets lit up by the lights, it's like you almost either want more of the tree or less of the tree. I don't know what I want out of that. Regardless, I think this is a really strong, really good photo. Great submission. There's some reflections on the side of the car that I would have got rid of in post if this was like, like you going nuts. But I mean, like for a submission from like a regular person, I think this is a great, great photo.
Yeah, I really dig it. Sean, what do you got?
Yeah, those are all my same thoughts as well. What I picked up on instantly when I saw the photo initially was that bright light on the front portion of the vehicle, just in front of the wheel. It looks like that was some form of direct lighting to maybe enhance the side of the cruiser. And it looks like the light was pointed directly at the vehicle. again, that also matches with the leading light that on the grass that takes you to that specific highlight, as it were. And I feel that it's quite distractive, or it distracts my eye. Maybe because I understand how he probably shot this with the light. And so personally, I would have loved to have seen that direct light come from the left flank and then shot down the side of the cruiser. It would have highlighted the sort of the three-dimensionality of the vehicle some more, and it would have taken away that sharp distraction of that direct light right on the front end of the cruiser. Other than that, I think, as Pat said, it probably is a iPhone image because of the star background. My camera right now, I'm not very good at these kind of images. I haven't really dove into astrophotography in a way that I feel comfortable saying that I would have done this and I would have done that. I'm going to really just focus on the vehicle as a whole and the points that Pat raised.
I do dig this, and I got a question for you guys then, because I don't really know what's the major difference in shooting astrophotography versus just stuff in the dark. Like, is
Amazing,
it
right?
just light exposure, or like I don't really know what the difference is.
So I've dove down a little bit into astro. I really enjoyed doing it. It's been a bit of a learning curve. But you have a couple things working for and against you. One of them is that it's most of the time it's long exposure of some type. So normally up to about 8 seconds ish. But you don't go too far past that because you end up with the stars actually moving, right? So unless you have like a rig that can actually follow the stars that you're pointing at, your star is going to move. So you start getting elongation of the dots. But you normally need a long enough exposure to get those dots to present themselves. Then you want to, if you do it right, I shouldn't say do it right, but if you get like those ones that you see that you're just like, whoa, look at the Milky Way, and your mind's just kind of blowing apart. That's like normally like a minimum of like 10 of those 8-second exposures stacked on top of each other to get the depth and all the stars and stuff like that. But it's really cool, like, because our cameras are getting more and more sensitive to light. We're able to adjust a lot of things to pull the all those stars out of the sky, and obviously it's a geographical thing as well. So like when I go do astro, I actually have an app called Photo Pills, and I'll look at the map and I'll look at not only a light pollution map, but also look at where those stars are going to set up, because I like shooting the Milky Way. So I'm going to figure out when the Milky Way is going to be the most brightest. Hopefully the weather complies with me, and I'm going to be in a dark enough spot that those stars will present. Because you try to take that shot in the city, never happening. Never happening. Light pollution is so bad, you'll never get that ever.
Sean, you got any thoughts on just generally on astrophotography?
Yeah. So Pat is right. There are certain parts of Canada or the world that are considered dark zones, and so on the back deck of our house in Rossland, it's quite dark. And if I was to focus more on astrophotography, I could capture things similar to this, but I wouldn't have the elements that this image presents in the foreground, which of course is the cruiser and that cool barn in the background and all of that good stuff. And so further to that, as Pat said, the astrophotography aspect with this particular phone camera, there's software interpretation that is going on within the camera in order to enhance or draw out the stars, as it were. And so this isn't just pure camera. This is camera and software from my perspective. And so as Pat said, in order to create those mind-blowing photos of some of the deep star clusters, some of the nebulae and et cetera, really you need some long exposures, and you need kind of some process where the camera tracks these stars so that you're not getting those star trails, as they're called, or those, as Pat said, those edges, those light edges that drag off the light tails. And so to get a really proper astrophotography shot, you need good glass, you need good technical abilities, you need a rig that will track the motion of the stars to get like those stunning images, and you need to have some technical prowess to do some image stacking, as Pat said, and a whole lot of post-processing to really make something spectacular. But again, the modern phone cameras can really draw out some of this astrophotography aspect, so that to the average eye and to my eye, it presents a really nice image. In fact, it can almost encourage other people to engage in this kind of photography, knowing that their phone is probably capable of capturing this level of astrophotography.
I would not have guessed that a phone would have been able to do that in general, but I can understand your guys' points on it for sure. Now that you've brought them up, but I would not have guessed that was on a phone. Let's jump right into the scoring then. What do we got for composition, technical skill? Sean, I'll start with you.
Well, for the points that Pat raised and the same things that are going through my mind, because of the canting of the image, because of that tree in the right flank, and just that bright, almost distracting light on the front portion of the cruiser, I'd like to give it a higher score, but I'm going to give it an 8.
An 8. I like it. Pat, what do you think?
It's funny. I was expecting a lower number out of Sean. He's pointing all those things out, because I'm definitely sitting at the 8 as well, because I agree with everything that Sean said, but I'll also give it the pluses is that there's some beautiful layering happening here, right? So the foreground is lit, then you have the cruiser, which pulls your eye, and then you also have the barn behind it, and then you have the stars behind that. So you have these 4 layers. Right. And building good photos is a lot of times using those layers effectively. So now you have an actual perspective of what's happening. So I think 8's a very solid and correct score for this. I don't think that was intentionally Dutched. I mean, it could have been, but I don't feel like it was.
I'm going to go with an 8 as well on that one for sure. What about creativity, originality? Pat, coming right back at you.
I'll give that a 9 because, I mean, yeah, to stop and be like, whoa, look at that, look at the stars, look at my car. Oh, I'm gonna turn the lights on. I don't know what the green light's happening on the inside of the car, but I don't know if that was intentional. But you have all these cool like colors happening light wise, plus the stars, plus whatever light out that's. I don't think that's moonlight, because then you'd actually probably diminish the stars. It could be, but whatever light is hitting the barn as well, like it's slick. It's pretty slick. It's a pretty slick photo.
I dig it. Sean, what are you thinking?
I agree with Pat. I'm right there with that same score. What has been bugging me right from the get-go on this image is I've been trying to analyze the reflection on the side of the cruiser that's facing us. I can see some reflection. I can see kind of like a tree reflection just behind the front tire of the cruiser, and it's these 2 spots of red light. Just in front of the front wheel and just behind the rear wheel, you can see 2 little red dots, and it's almost, I feel like there's almost another vehicle that's parked close by, perhaps a partner cruiser, as it were, or there's some sort of reflectivity that it's picking up on red lights from somewhere else. Maybe it's the red light on top of the cruiser that is shining on something else that's then being reflected back to the side of the cruiser. But there's definitely something in there that has me compelled to more deeply analyze what's going on in the surrounding area, as it were. And so whether that was intentional or not is unimportant. What is important is that how you shoot your photo to different eyes will draw a person in and have their mind kind of rapidly trying to deconstruct the immediate surrounding. And that in and of itself can be a skill, or it can just be sheer luck. But either way, it's something that people should consider when you're composing your image, that you can create a lot of cognitive almost dissonance within a viewer's mind, so that they have to more deeply explore the granularity of certain aspects of the photo. So something to chew on.
That's a great point. I really dug it. I think there's an ambient light somewhere else, like Pat saying there's probably a spotlight or something like that, because you're getting illumination onto a tree and then onto the barn. And so like that could be part of it, is that offset light that could be creating those reflections on the side too. But yeah, I don't know. I'll move on right now. Relevance, service. What do you think?
Well, it's a 9, obviously. It's like cruiser doing its cruiser things.
Yeah, Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, serving that country. So I'm a 9 all the way.
There you go. Stoke and or vibe, artistic factor, Stoke and vibe. Sean, you first. What you got?
Yeah, I dig it, man. Like, I'm going to give it a 9. And whether it was all intentional or not, whether this was a master plan, someone's big vision to create the layers. If anyone has never heard me say it before, I'll say it again. I love layers. I shoot most of my images with some sort of layering system based on how my mind appreciates. Maybe it's the sniper in me. I don't know what it is, but I always try to intentionally create some sort of layering within my images. So for me, this photo totally works, and I'm giving it a solid 9.
Boom. I love it. I was also in the 9 range. I mean, I agree with mostly what you guys go with, and I kind of try to plug the difference most of the time. So, I mean, you guys have a much better eye for photography for me than I do at this point, for sure. That lays out at 35. That's another excellent photo. Good top 2 right off the bat, I got to say. Then we're going to go back to another one from Dave Curvin. Here we go. Let's hit a third. Boom. This is another great one. And I found it interesting that the first 3 that I picked are all canted. So I just find that humorous. Right off the bat, what do you got? Thoughts, Sean?
Well, to me, this looks like something that Dave didn't contrive. It's not an inauthentic image. I mean, I know photographers that will lay down the leaves in particular places in order for it to be giving that sort of Canadiana sort of aspect. And so this just feels like a totally natural shot that didn't have any added fake elements, as it were. And so for that, I appreciate him leaving things as is, if I can call it that. And so I do like the angularity of it. I really do like how typically most professional photographers will use leading lines or leading edges, or they will use some sort of linearity within an image to kind of drag you down into it. This one is kind of a bit of a acute angle in the sense of a leading edge. And so for me, it's a bit distracting on how the angularity is a bit extreme for a leading line, but it works for me. And also the kind of acute shooting angle that Dave took it on, he's quite low to the ground so that you're giving that long edge, as it were. It just feels like there's some canting issues or some kind of leading line issues that aren't working that well for my mind. But it's an authentic image, and I like how he set it up. So I'm giving it an 8.
I like it. Pat, what do you think?
Who is this Sean, and where did he come from?
Right?
Right? I don't know. That's my first question. Second question, because my statement here is I don't know if Dave is trying to, amplify his last shot to make it better, because I don't want to be a jerk here, but this is pretty boring. Yeah, I mean, you're hitting the topic of service. We'll get to all of that later. But when it comes down to composition, there is no leading lines. There's no like anything really drawing my eye to other than the words. You take pictures of words. It's not, there's no story being told there because you read the words. The lines are just kind of meh. There's a shadow on the left side of a sign or a building that's kind of like just distracting. But yeah, to me, this is
Yep. I like it. I like the image itself. And Dave jumped in here as well. He said, Sean, I'll be honest, I did go and remove 2 leaves that were covering letters, so -2 points. But the one thing actually that caught me is the fact that I just don't like the fact that it's a sidewalk. And so, like, in terms of lest we forget and then we have to walk over it, seems to bother me. And I'm going to have to think about that one for a little while, why that bothers me. But as an image, yeah, I think it compositionally an 8, I would say. It's a nicely framed image. He took some time to figure out what he wanted to do, and yeah, I'd be.
I never did give it a number, yeah. So I'm
No,
gonna give
but
that I'm gonna give that a 6. Yeah.
6. All right, I like it.
Yeah.
Here we go.
You know,
Do it.
So Pat's right. Pat's right. I was being overly enthusiastic, perhaps, and I'm not trying to blow smoke. I'm not trying to, overly encourage anyone to get out there and take these kind of images. Technically, Pat is correct. I completely align with what he said. I wouldn't go so far as to say, but as I have in the past. But what I do appreciate from this image is the fact that I believe Dave had to get on a pretty low angle to shoot this image in a way that he thought would work. It doesn't work for my eye. It certainly doesn't work at a number of technical levels. But Dave was making an effort to create, I believe, a little bit of depth, some three-dimensionality. Whether he understood that's what he was trying to achieve or not is neither here nor there. And so he almost got it. He could have done it a bit differently, and it would have been more pleasing to my eye. So all of that said, if I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to be legit, I'm bumping it down to a 7.
There you go. Quick little hit. Andrew Bovard jumped in here and said, hey, everyone. Sean, hopefully you are not getting rained on too much. And Corbin Bobby jumped in. He said, it is a crosswalk. A farther shot would have been more appealing. That could be it. Let me ask you this then, guys. If you were to see this and it were to catch your eye and you say, you know what, I'm going to take a photo of this crosswalk, how would you frame it? How would you take that shot? Pat, what would it look like?
Yeah, interesting question, because I'll be curious how Sean answers this, because if I just caught my eye and I was like, I'm going to take a picture of that, or what I would probably do is get at an extreme low angle. I'd probably adjust my aperture so that the lest we forget is in the most focus, and I'd probably have that focus taper off, right? And we'd be like at ground level. Like you'd see the texture of the sidewalk, you'd see the texture of the concrete underneath, and you would get the lest we forget, and then it would just focus off into a bokeh. That would probably be the way I'd do it. I'd probably frame it like that.
I dig it. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Pat. In fact, I can show you exactly how I would shoot it. You'll see a lot of the images that I'm shooting over here in Vietnam. I'll take my camera and I'll take this portion of my camera, and I will take the angle like that. I'll be looking down at this. I'll be so low to the ground. I'll only be a couple of inches off the ground. I would have set my focus on the lest we forget. And I would have, as Pat said, had my bokeh disappearing off into the distance. I'm not sure if I would have shot the straight down like a runway shot to drag down those leading edges or leading lines into the distance. I might have had it on a little bit of an angle, depending on what the background had to present, whether there was something that I wanted to layer into the image. Personally, if I could create this image in my mind's eye, I would have timed it as such. Low to the ground, maybe an inch or two off the ground, giving some three-dimensionality, some runway effect. And I would have looked for someone walking across the image so that I got some almost 3D pop, some sort of relevance, some sort of human connection to the lest we forget soldier, while having maybe a service member or someone else. I'm not sure if I would have had them walk left to right or right to left, but I would have wanted to connect the static image to the current human motion. That's how my mind would have crafted it. Whether that could have been created or not authentically, I'm not sure, but that's how I try to shoot with my camera all the time. Images that I put up last night in my Instagram stories, a lot of those were me shooting super low to the ground and almost on an upward angle to catch some sort of unique images. So again, how I've described how I would have shot it, I think is what I try to do with a lot of my images.
It would have been awesome too to have someone actually, well, me, if I because I had the human element, and I was thinking more and more about it as you were talking, because I would want some sort of human element. I was like, would I want a bike going by? Would I want a person walking across? Something like that. And then I was like, the ultimate, because it's lest we forget, is you actually have those footprints walking away from it, like in that mid step, just past the soldier. That'd have been
Bam. That would have been it right there. Dave Griffin jumps in on the Instagram side, said, loving all the feedback. I continue to work on leveling up thanks to you guys and the competitors in these photo shoots. And Andrew Bovard says, Sean, your photos are getting next level. Yes, I dig it. All right. Creativity, originality then. What do you guys think out of 10? Sean, we'll hit you first.
I'm waffling between a 6 and a 7 because, again, for the points that have already been raised, I think there was a lot of room for improvement in this shot. I see that Dave wanted to create something, but I don't think he nailed it. And so I'm going to give it a 6.5.
A 6.5. Wow. That's a good caliber. Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna throw it down as a 7. And it's hard, because it's Dave. So like, I'm sorry, Dave, but you've now set like a certain standard for yourself. We've seen your photography. We've seen your photography get better. The first shot that we started off with was like pretty epically timeless shot, and then I see this. So, not saying that this is a bad photo in any way, but what I'm saying is that I feel like I kind of this Dave shot. Okay, well, I'm kind of sitting at a 7.
I dig it. Relevance?
That's a 9.
9.
It's,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a 9. But I feel like Dave could have done more with this. And so there is an added element to what's kind of been irking me a little bit, that's kind of been chewing away at my prefrontal cortex. And it's that it just feels two-dimensional, even one-dimensional. I really feel that this lest we forget aspect is it's not like it's an after effect. It's not like it was a second thought, as it were. Dave obviously wanted to capture that, but it feels flat to me. And so I'm going to give it a 7.
All right, I dig it. A 7. I would not have gone to that point. I'm sitting at a 9 because it's the correct relevance to the shot, and it is a sidewalk, so it does serve things like it does things to do, or it is a crosswalk. So
okay, all right. Okay, so let me justify my number, and this might sting a little bit. So break out your Kleenex. Because, when we look at that image, when I look at that image, lest we forget, with that soldier, like I want to do it. It's full service. I want to like properly reflect what it is trying to reflect back to us. And so I don't think Dave looked at this and wanted to diminish what that represents to all of us. I think maybe what Dave did was take a photo. And there's a difference between taking a photo and trying to capture the essence of a moment and what it truly represents. So Dave took a photo of a sidewalk that represents something to all of us. What it is missing is the magic. It is missing the hidden message that we all feel inside of us, but I'm not feeling from this image. So when I said it was a bit one-dimensional, two-dimensional, the three-dimensionality that I'm seeking is the true spirit of what anyone who is served feels when we look at this image. It just doesn't have the feeling I'm looking for. Now, I know that it might sting a little bit that it's not a disrepresentation. It's not Dave not caring, but it feels like it is missing the true spirit of lest we forget. So I'm curious as to what you guys think now.
That's a great point. I gotta say that made me really stop and reassess the photo as a whole. Pat, what do you think?
No, and I super agree with Sean in the fact, like, so what I refer to these kind of photos as a snapshot, right? Is I'm cruising down the sidewalk. Oh, cool. Lest we forget sidewalk. Click, back in the pocket, off I go. right? A photograph to me is, oh, lest we forget, wow, how can I really make this impactful? Okay, I'm going to do this, right? But when it comes down to I just kind of talking about like the difference, like that's how I separate this stuff in my mind. So when you hear me say this is a snapshot, this means that, in my opinion, you didn't really give that much. You didn't give that many like Fs, right? You, like, you were just cruising along and you're like, oh, cool, they did a lest we forget crosswalk. Well, that's neat. Click, pocket, gone, right? And that's cool. I mean, it's a memory and it's all that stuff. But and I agree with everything else that Sean said. But yeah, I think that's why I'm just kind of at the meh.
I take it. Yeah, absolutely. We got some comments actually on the Instagram side as well. Corbin Bobby said, I would have layered a full size soldier shadow over it at an angle, but you'd have to play with contrast and it was daytime, so playing with the contrast would have been a must, and a higher view from the length. Yeah, absolutely. Andrew Bavard jumped in here. He said candid versus planned, and Dave jumps back in and says excellent points. So boom, right there.
And sorry, there with this image, if Dave would have, if Dave took this photo quickly, that's fine. But in post-processing, what he could have done is there is processing that would have turned this into more of a vintage image. And so then it could, in your mind, perhaps represent some history, some depth of history, some sort of vintageness to it, where it's not just a flat, high contrast, high popper photo that is a snapshot image. It could have kind of drawn you down memory lane, as it were. Everyone's seen the old-timey photos that you can go to the shopping mall, you go in, you sit down, you're looking like a cowboy, they apply a vintage filter to it, and then all of a sudden, bam, it's got some vintageness to it, it's got some history to it, even though the shopping mall photo to some degree is a snapshot. You can apply some post-processing where you create some lineage to the photo. And so just food for thought for Dave or anyone else out there. This image could have been played with in post-processing to really add some almost soul to it.
I agree with you guys entirely. This is a and I have a question on this, just going back to a technical thing on this. Would you want to create some movement, perhaps like throw some leaves into it or something like that to create an image like that? Would that be a like an interesting thing to do when you think about your photos? Do you try to create movement with that stuff?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I don't know if I would do that particularly, but I think any effort to create art out of out of something like this, any direction that you would have kind of went from that, because like I said, this is a snapshot. I don't think you can really argue otherwise. Yeah. Throwing like the leaves or creating movement or whatever, like on that architecture shoot yesterday. So we were doing video and stills, and the stills photographers, amazing photographers, by the way. I should put their links into my bio there because they're on one of my posts. Very, very talented dudes, but more leaves died that day than I think anything else. Because, every time they would take a shot, they'd see a fern and they'd rip it out of the thing, and then they would have it angled in front of their lens just a little bit to like just create that foreground bokeh and like kind of like a split of light or whatever they needed. And boom, they take the shot. Boom, they take the shot, and then they'd be somewhere else. They'd grab a branch or a piece of moss, and they were constantly creating those layers purposely, and very effectively.
Sean, you got any thoughts on that?
I sure do, and you better buckle in because this one ain't going to be an easy one. I actually, I do not care at all for inauthentic images. The moment that I see anyone throwing leaves in the air to try to represent actual life, I'm completely uninterested in their work because to me it's contrived, it's inauthentic, it's fake. And my style of shooting is to capture the essence of the moment. I am trying to be mindful in the moment. I am trying to put the viewer into not just my shoes, but into the soulfulness of an image. If anyone likes my photos that I put up, it's not because they like perhaps the technical aspects of it. It's because they're feeling it. And I think that's what art should be. You should feel something from the photo. And personally, I am opposed to inauthentic images. Now, I'll go one step further. Over here in Vietnam or in Asia as a whole, there's quite a lot of tourists, and photography is being taken to the TikTok level, or the completely contrived 1,000 poses in 5 minutes. And it really kind of, I feel that photography is being crushed as an art right now by the commercialization, the kind of sensationalize the commercialization of imagery, where it has become unreal, where it has become fake art. And quite frankly, I despise it, because it is destroying the soul or the art of photography. We are being pulled into the commercialization of imagery rather than what I feel it should be, and that is authentic essence, the soul or art of photography. So for everyone who's ripping out ferns and creating their thing, that just ain't for me.
Oh, we could go on this debate for a bit. Only because, so, and I super appreciate, and he just disappeared, but I super appreciate Sean's feeling on that, because I share a lot of it as well. There's a certain element that you just truly want, that, that realism. And that's where, like, journalism, like when you look through, like, say, like the Reuters always does the top 100 photos of the year. Some of those images will just absolutely blow your mind and humble you as a photographer, but also blow your mind of the zeitgeist of the current situation. And so that type of photography is obviously super authentic and super beautiful. And then I could go to the opposite side of that. And if you've ever watched a movie and loved it for its cinematography, I can guarantee you, sorry, I did not mean to swear, but I can guarantee you that 90% of the effects were faked. But if they did it right, it should feel more than real life. You know what I mean? If you're doing, say, throwing the leaves, and it feels like you're throwing leaves and the picture looks like they're throwing leaves, then yeah, you've missed the mark. If you get the leaves to fall in some magical way, getting someone to drop them at an angle in which the leaf would naturally fall or whatever, and you capture that in a single photo that actually creates a feeling, like you watch a movie and you see rain hammering down, a big, thick, heavy rain, that torrential downpour. Oh, you feel cold, you feel terrible. It's a rain tower. It's hooked to a freaking fire hose. Completely contrived, completely fake. Right? So we have both sides. We have those beautiful, that street photography level, beautiful, authentic, capture of the moment. There's so many beautiful images on that side. And then on the opposite side, if done properly and done creatively in a correct way, can be also very beautiful. It's all in the way it's executed.
Yeah, I see both sides of that, and it is quite a debate. I mean, we've talked about it on the show a couple of times, actually, now that I think about it. We've had these discussions on what the separation between being fake versus real, and how to create that feeling in general. So I quite dig it. And you know what? We'll have another conversation about that for sure at another time. But back to this one, we still got to get to the Stoke, the vibe. We went on a bit of a tangent, bit of my fault. I just got curious, but what do you guys think? Stoke, vibe? Sean, what do you got?
6.5.
6.5. Look at that. Pat?
I'm very sorry, Dave. It's a 5.
It's a 5. I was looking at a 6 myself, but we'll put that in the middle. I like it. All right. We're going to jump into, we are just about an hour actually right now, and we're going to jump into another photo. But we're going to have to hit them pretty quick. I got 2 more here, and then we'll go through the overall. This one comes with a story. Travis Good, he put this one out here. He says, my name's Travis, retired sergeant, 2 PPCLI. He's now working as a barber, giving a cut to fellow Patricia, Lane Admiral, and they had a great opportunity to record the cut while chatting about his work with the charity organization Veterans for Life Foundation. So service across the board. What do you guys think? Composition, technical skill, Pat?
I mean, the only thing I can really, because I mean, it's just a photo of two dudes, and it was kind of like, like I have an opportunity to take this shot, and it's going to be fun, it's going to be cool, and I'm super happy that I got to take this. It's in the moment. So I mean, it's going to be a low score only because it was hastily done. We have it heavily on the right side. We've cut off hands. Like I'm assuming I'm seeing the full size image here. So everything's weighted to the right side. The hands are cut off. There's not really anything done to, to stack the image or to organize it in any way. Right. So it's not going to be, I don't know.
Yeah, but you got to give me a score. What do you got?
I know. I'm like, can I avoid this and not give it any score? No. I'm gonna give it. For composition, I'm gonna have to say it's a 7.
A 7. Okay, Sean, what do you think?
Buckle in. So straight up, it's a 6 for me. But with the backstory, as you just relayed it, Chance, which nobody knows unless you know the dudes, then it's a weak photo technically. What makes it a great photo is now it's a couple of PPCLI dudes freaking smashing on life and et cetera, et cetera. For that, to me, it becomes a 9. But I don't know that backstory when I look at this image unless I know those two dudes. And so I love the dudes. I don't love the image as a technical image. So it's a 5 for me. Apologies,
5 now.
Man, I wrote down 6, and I wanted to. The reason I want to add these in here too is the fact that photos are taken in the moment, and the better if all we look at is the bangers, right? If we look at the 10s across the board, then it's hard to learn, hard to move beyond the push the standard from there. So we can all learn from these. And absolutely, I love the photo. I think it's a great moment, but it's not a great photo.
That's right. What I love the most about this image, it's got nothing to do with technical. It's got everything to do with their eyeballs. I love the joy in their eyes. I love the camaraderie. I feel the two boys. I don't feel the technical skill in the image. And so it is a cautionary tale to all of us that these moments with our brohemos are so freaking important. Like, I don't think anyone really realizes how important these images are until you're my freaking age, when you're in your 60s. Like as young bucks, this is the peak of life. This is the best times. This is, these two fellas were this wasn't their first moment together, and it certainly won't be their last. And so I love the energy that I'm picking up from this image. I just don't like what they're going to look at in the future, 30, 40 years from now. They're going to want more from this image. And so the cautionary tale is they managed to capture the stoke. I feel the love, but they will want more in a technical sense 30, 40 years from now, for sure.
Absolutely. Creativity, originality. What do you think, Pat?
I mean, it's a solid 7. You wanted to take this photo. It's an original photo. And I'm just gonna double back to the technical thing. If I'm grading something on technical, it has nothing to do with the story. Almost nothing. It's how does it appease my eye? Was it stacked properly? Does my eye get attracted to the right areas? Is it the whole body in fucking? Is it in focus? Obviously it's in focus, but right. Etc. So I'm like, it's about that, right? And so it doesn't like the stoke is high, the originality and all that stuff, that's going to be higher, right? But technical,
yeah, it is. I agree with you. What do you think though? Originality, you said 7, 6.
Yes, I did 7. Yeah, I did 7. Yeah,
7. Okay, Sean, what do you think?
I'm sitting at a 6.
6, right on. All right, moving on. Relevance. What do you guys think? Sean, I'll hit you first.
It's relevant because now I know the backstory. Without your backstory, without the narrative attached to this image, It's a couple of dudes that I believe served in the military, that I believe had some camaraderie, that I believe a number of things, but I don't know for sure because the image doesn't tell me that without the narrative attached to the image. And so I don't know how they could have shot this differently to help me see that in a better way. And so, 6.5.
Bam. Pat, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say the one thing that Sean said there. Like 9 times out of 10, you don't want to have to explain a photo. You should never have to explain a photo with words. So, yeah, I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna stick around the 6 mark.
All right, I was at 6 as well. Stoke, and again, you bring up a great point, Sean. Is that without the story, it's a picture of a haircut. Unfortunately. So I feel
we don't even know if it's about a haircut. Like if I was being like completely like, objective here, like he could be a tattoo artist. He could have pierced his ears. I have no idea that this is a haircut. Like he's got no scissors in his hands. He's got no other prop to elude me that he was a barber, right? He could have pierced his ears. He could have freaking given him a tattoo. Like I don't know. Yeah. He's in a fancy chair in a shop setting. He could have got a manicure. I mean, but and that's what I mean. Like if you and this is a photo contest. Like so, I'm not trying to take away from such an amazing Stoke moment. I'm not trying to do that at all. But as a photo contest, yeah, I should know. I should kind of know what's happening by looking at it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Stoke wise though, vibe, all that good stuff. What would you rank it?
Just with the smiles and the happiness that's in their face, I'm gonna give it a high Stoke level. I'm gonna give it like a good 8 because like they're happy dudes and thumbs are up and metal horns out and yeah, I'm feeling Stoke. I'm feeling emotion.
I dig it. Sean, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm sitting at an 8. Like looking at the joy coming from these fellas, like I feel it. I feel the camaraderie. I feel the love for the two fellas. They're loving on each other. They're loving on hanging out with each other. They're loving on capturing this moment. Maybe even for us, I don't know. But without the backstory and not knowing the boys personally, I don't know what the hell's going on. So I just feel the love. I don't feel the service, as it were. So I'm giving it an 8 because of the vibe. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me. Let's jump on to the next one. We're going to run out of time here shortly, but we got time for one more, and then we'll do a little rundown on the winner. We'll go from there. Last one up, Rick sent this one in from Helena, Montana, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
From down in Montana way. But what do you guys think? Right off the top of your head, Sean, any thoughts?
Well, when I saw this photo initially, before we went live, of course, I read this slogan on the back of the T-shirt that works for me. The tattoos makes me infer that the individual served or knows someone who serves or is in that sort of trajectory. And also how he's casting his view down on the town below. It almost feels like some sort of melancholy. It almost feels reflective. It almost feels like introspective for me. And so I like the image for a whole pile of reasons. But I don't get a whole lot of service narrative from it. Like I'm having to fill in the narrative that he has served and that this is about that reflective moment. And so as Pat has said earlier, the image should tell the story for you so that you don't have to do a lot of inference. So I'm giving it a 7, though I appreciate what I believe is going on has been told, but it takes a lot of inference to get there.
Yeah. I think there is a story behind it, but we don't really have time to jump into it. Pat, you got any thoughts?
Sorry, and are we going with the first category of technical composition? Is that what we're going with? Or,
just general thoughts. Just general thoughts.
Oh, just general thoughts. Just general thoughts. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, whatever this is happening in this photo, it's like there's like I feel like this reflection and longing, and there's like kind of I feel there's a bit of emotion here. So like on the stoke level, the feeling level, like I kind of get it, you know, like it's, I don't know, it's just the body language. I think like it's not like a triumphant body language. It's kind of like, ugh, something down there like is like, you know, it's in my head, it's in my existence. Maybe it's like not good, or maybe it's like, you know, whatever, reflection or whatever. I do know a bit of the back, like I do know that it's the VA hospital in the background of it. Um, but it's just the body language as well, right? And of course the whole like kind of uh, wording on the back of the shirt, right? So yeah, this is my general thoughts. It's just kind of,
I dig it.
I get it. I get it. Is kind of what I'm saying. You know, like I don't know how high it scored for service, but I get it.
It portrays like weight in my mind.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
there's just a weight there. It almost feels like you know, when you take a ruck off and you still have that like little bow from when it was just sitting on your in your shoulders for a long time. So now let's get into the technical skill. Come right back to you, Pat. What do you think? Out of 10, technical composition.
I like the layering. I like the color. I like that it's straight. I like the light coming in from the left, there. I hate that his hands are cut off, so I don't know if that should have been cropped up a slightly higher, or let me see his hands and go slightly lower. But cutting off in the like on the wrist is kind of a weird spot. Like you're not really supposed to cut off at a joint, right? Like if you're cropping a person, try to avoid a joint. Like try to go. I mean, it's like right at that wrist joint. You know what I mean? So either cut further up the elbow, like cut mid limb, is if you're gonna cut. You know what I mean? So so for like score wise, I'm gonna give it. I'll give it an 8. I'm gonna give it an 8.
An 8. Right on. Sean, what do you think?
Technically, I like this image for a number of reasons. Pat has elucidated some of that. So there's some things that I would have done differently, but this sits at an 8 for me.
I take it. Creativity, originality, right back to you, Sean.
It is certainly authentic, and irrespective of who took the photo, whether it was on a tripod or whether it was the emotion was the main purpose of this image, I strongly feel what this individual is trying to portray, I believe, and so I'm getting an 8 for that.
I dig it. 8 is a good number for it. Pat, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm there for the same reasons. Yeah.
Right on. Relevance? Come right back to Pat.
I feel like I need to give it a 7 only because I feel the weight of it and I can see the haircut. But there's not really anything else telling me that if I didn't know the backstory. Maybe I'm in between a 7 and 8. I'm going to go 7.5.
7.5. All right. Sean, what do you think?
I'm at a 7, and I'm giving it a 7 because I didn't understand the VA aspect to it. So now it all kind of aligns in my mind as to what was the attempt was being made. But without a number of pieces, without me being a service member, without us being service members, without us having a critical eye, without us knowing what this probably represents, you wouldn't know that this is a service image per se. Now, it's freaking hard to capture service in these kind of images. Like service typically defaults to soldiers on a parade, someone saluting at a cenotaph, the poppy moment, or maybe it's in the Legion, or various aspects that are so crystal clear that it is about service. So service is hard to capture in this almost ethereal way. And so I'm not sure that service was nailed as the sort of full backstory in this. So I'm giving it a 7.
Interesting. I actually, my first thought was a 6 in terms of relevance, because it portrays to me suffrage rather than service.
Oh, interesting.
That makes sense, right? Like because of that, the weight of the feeling, plus with the mountains in the background, and just like you think of like how far you have to go, rather without the story of knowing that it's the VA hospital and knowing that this guy's a service member, and taking my own service member mind out of the way, it looks like I cleared the mountain and oh crap, now I still got to go all the way down there.
I'm okay with that. You're right on point there, Chance. Yeah, and I'm still going to leave it at a 7 because that's my authentic my score. But listening to you, if I was being technically correct, I would drop it down to a 6. But I'm not going to let you influence me in that way because I will not be Jedi mind tricked. I'm sticking at a 7.
So close. I was so close. Pat, what do you think? Did I already go? Would you? Or you?
Yeah, I think you already did that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Stoke vibe. Where are we at? Artistic factor.
Vibe artistic factor. I'll give it an 8. I will, because there's layering here. There is light direction here. There is intention here, and I feel the weight of the individual.
I dig it. Sean, what do you think?
I mirror everything that Pat said, and I mirror his score. I feel that this is a true 8 for me.
I dig it. I'm going to go with y'all. 8, I think, is a great number for it, for sure. It's got some really beautiful artistic pieces to it, and yeah, I dig it. That's awesome. Well, that is our top 5 across the board here, and our winner right off the bat. Let me just hit this, as we all kind of figured right off the bat, is this guy Dave Curvin, the first one we put up with 36 9s across the board, and then we have Rick's came in, or sorry, correction. Tom's came in second. Again, no doubts there. And then looks like Dave Curvin, number 2, comes in as correction. No, my math was wrong. Rick came in as number 3. Those are the top 3 off the bat. Any thoughts on this month's vet photo contest? Let's go with that. Sean?
Yeah, I'm loving that it all played out the way it did, because the top 3 in that particular order totally makes sense to me. I feel like these are all great representations of service and perhaps not just service, but what this photo contest is also about is the decisive moment. It is about elevating the art of photography. That's what we've kind of been sort of beating the drum on, is we all have cameras. We can all do better. We can all create more art with it. We can all be more mindful. We can all be more in the moment. We can all use it to some degree as therapy, if you will. And so I feel like that the 3 images are excellent representations of, month after month, the level of imagery, the level of art, the level of being in the moment has elevated itself. So I'm digging the top 3.
Yeah. Pat, any thoughts?
I don't know if I can add much to that. I feel very much the same way. I'm really stoked to see more people take a moment and take a shot, because these are great. The top 3 are truly good. Yeah. And I want to see more of this. And I don't know. I think you did a what do you call it? A reel earlier about it. There's a difference between a photograph and a snapshot. And a photograph is taken intentionally to create emotion and to be in the moment. And I hope we can continue to promote that.
Yeah, I dig it. This is awesome. Well, I have a prize pack from Bespoke Law Leather that's going out to the winner, and that'll be going out shortly as soon as I get that information over to them. And we will get something for the second and third one, second place and third place as well, very shortly. Unfortunately, this month has been crazy for us all, and I just want to first off say thank you guys, because I know, Sean, man, like, you're coming from across the globe on the other side, and Pat, I know you're super busy. I'm just stoked that we were able to do a live. This feels really great. You guys got any thoughts before we shut her down? Pat, let's hit you back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna hammer on the whole thing, like, take photos, like take an actual photo, like try your hand at it. I don't know if I'm starting to wonder if there's almost a people that want to take photos or do take photos on a regular basis are like, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough to enter a picture, or if it's people that there's also people on the other side. I know, and I'm calling you out. I'm calling all of the vet photographers that I know follow me. Put in a photo. Like, what the F? Like, you too good for it? You don't want to be critiqued? Like, you afraid of being, like, actually, like, have your photo actually looked at? I don't know what the deal is. And then lastly, take a moment, if you are interested in this, even if you're not going to submit, if you are interested in photography and you do want to elevate your photography, go look at some of these greats. Go look at Larry Burroughs if you want to look at like war photography. Go look at like, Bresson or anybody else that is like, kind of the famous photographers. And I believe Google has like Google Arts and Culture? Download that app to your phone, look up photography, look at some of the greats, and just look at some of that imagery. Or even the next time you're looking at a magazine, if you stop and go back to an image because you're like, whoa, look at that image, ask yourself why.
Bam. Sean, you got any final thoughts?
I do. Two thoughts. One is a lot of my current life is focusing on trying to capture the essence of a moment, the soul of a moment through photography. It's literally why I have toured as many photography focused or photography centric museums over here. I've gone well out of my way to visit exhibits that are intentionally focused on elevating my abilities, but more correctly, helping me better understand the depth or the soul of photography so that I can reflect that in my imagery. Who knows what I will be doing 10 years from now with photography, but I feel like I'm starting to arrive at a point where I am beginning to understand the soulful art of photography. So we all have miles ahead of us to learn how to do this better. I feel my photography has got better over the last year and change while I have been dedicated to it. But I also understand by standing in front of some of these great photographers that are represented over here that I have so much to learn, and it's the infinite game. So that's my first thought. My second thought is an inception-like thought. I mean, look at this moment. The three of us, we're all trying to serve as we're talking about service. The entire purpose of us doing this is to try to serve our community, is try to bring us all together in a way that is service oriented as we're talking about service. And so it's kind of an inception moment, if you will, if you think about it a little bit deeper. I just want to thank you guys for being part of this call. Anyone who joined in live or watches it later, appreciate. But to Pat and Chance specifically, thanks for keep on keeping on, boys. We've all been busy this month. We all know that, me personally, I was a bit disappointed in the lack of entries from veterans, first responders, and the community as a whole. I know some rad photographers out there that should have been all up in my grill right now with their amazing photography. So, what's up? Bring it. Why didn't that happen? Those are questions that you have to ask yourself. I've already answered them in my head. I'm sitting in this chair trying to do it right now. Why weren't you in this competition? That's something that you'll have to chew on like a dog on a bone if you hear this message later today or later this month. Get with the program. Let's get going.
I think the collective in general has kind of skewed my view a little bit sometimes, because Pat and I were talking earlier, because I had screwed up the timing on where the timing that I gave you, Sean, and what actually the time would be here. So Pat and I were just chatting in the background beforehand, and we got to a point where I realized this is actually only our fourth contest, but it feels like it should be up to speed with the collective, which has been running for 3 years. And so I get that there's going to be some growing pains as well, and there's going to be some times where people just maybe don't see it, or the algorithm sometimes plays into it as well. I know I could have done better in terms of promoting it and getting the word out and all that good stuff. So we all got things to do. We all got things to do better. That's kind of the point of the show, kind of the point of us doing this. That's the point of serving the community, is trying to do better every time. And yeah, other than that, that's all I got. Sean, we'll see you next month, and the recorded sessions are going to carry on from here. So as we all continue to learn, build, and grow, we'll see you then. Chimo. Thanks everybody for watching and being part of the collective. If this has sparked any thoughts or resonated with you, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us grow and keeps the conversation going. We'll see you all next time.